You know, I really wish that this platform had makeup filters. Why? Why? Like, so much in this world needs integration. And everyone's bickering about the problems. Quack, 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 quack. Like, not solving them. Like, I understand free speech and the freedom to speak, but like, why speak about things, problems that you have no idea how to fix, no intention of fixing it if there was an idea presented, and presenting to other people that don't want to fix it either. I'm referring to the commentators that are all over right now. It's insane, like a treasonous level of insane. Um, and then a large part of the population seems to think that Elon Musk is going to fix everything, which is impossible. It's kind of unfair, but he's kind of like taking all of the esteem for like a lot of other ingenuitive people who would like to get something done. And it's rather frustrating. Not to mention our political system. Oh my God, does no one know how like the whole geopolitical stage works? Like we have a president, allegedly, that is senile. I don't care what fucking paperwork has or has not been filed, or if you need a C304 Vorgon level form, but like, we all, as a consensus, let's say, except for the people benefit from it, the majority consensus of the people would be we have a senile president. Right? Okay. No one's doing anything. Oh, the vice president. The vice president is, to put it nicely, a self-serving, vapid, manipulative cunt. Policies or whatever, hit or miss. Honestly, I agree with her. The flag flip that everyone... I don't pledge allegiance to a flag is a paper. You pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Like, the flag is a symbol. I cannot tease her on that one. But it's those little nuances that have evolved, because we've evolved emotionally. The language has evolved a little bit, not in the right direction, but like, it's those nuances that people overlook because of conditioned responses. And everyone's like running in this like zombie world, and it's insane. And I don't know why no one else says this. But so America, we're number one. We're like in a very vulnerable spot. Like no one's holding power. No one in this country is holding power. Except for me. Because I now, by the power vested in me by Father God and Mother Earth, and as a U.S. citizen and sovereign entity, I'm claiming full sovereignty as Empress of New America. Isn't even the craziest thing I've heard this week. So, I'm in charge now. And you know what? This is not any kind of coup. Like, I'm doing it so none of our enemies will do it. If they figured it out before Trump's inauguration, we'd be fucked. America, wake the fuck up. Like, okay? Like, okay, good job, Russia, and whatever bad actors in all of the countries, India, China, Japan, Taiwan, anyone who's ever had a problem with the United States of America, kudos on... Ugh. But could you please stop? Pretty please. And let's get our shit together on the human race. Because America, we are not winning. No, we can do better. So, as Empress now, I don't know what to do about the fires. I'm in the fires. Like, I'm supposed to evacuate. I don't have a car. I'm not getting paid for this. I mean, I will take it. Like, I'll drop a link, retroactively. But, like, I am doing this because no one else fucking is. Pardon my language. I'm upset. So, it all comes down to who's coming with me. Like, the ship is going down, and there's no captains here, but, like, we could all be captains. It's a song lyric. If I were Empress, I would ask the National Guard and the Navy SEALs and whatever Army Reserve units that might come across this video and see this to report. It's all up to you and your oath and what you believe of what you want to do. That's what it comes down to, because we make our world. And I would say start with arresting the current administration, and just hold them until someone who knows about that to do something about that. Because I'm tired of living in the shitstorm. I would like to stop being the laughingstock of the globe. Yeah. For starters, I'm not doing anything violent. I have $11 in my bank account. Like, I'm making a plea on good faith. And that's the thing that we've lost. Good faith. And you know what? It's not even some people's fault. Because things have been FUBAR here for so long that there are people who don't have any faith, and then there's people who have bad faith, like faith that bad things happen, but they have never in their lived experience seen a happy ending. What can we do about that? Empress. It's my pronoun, and it is by law to be respected. Empress, she, her. I think even the Republicans might get behind this one. Yes. So, yeah. Call in the National Guard and Navy SEALs, reserves, any other police force and military men that would like to go. Gather amongst yourselves and say, hey, this bitch has a point, and arrest all of the administration. Just hold them until Trump comes in or whatever. And as Americans, let's stop obsessing over what the country is doing to us and say, how can we rebuild this country? Just an idea. Because an empress is not an empress if she doesn't have people to follow her. It's up to whoever sees this to say if I am what I am, or if I'm just doing LARPing. It is up to the people. I have a lot of ideas, but I think that's enough for one video. But for right now, let's all take a deep breath. Yeah? And collectively, like, let it out. Let the panic out and say, what can I do to help this situation? Because where there's a will, there is a way. And so anyone who is going to exert their will should be looking for a way to pursue their happiness. If you're not doing that, then your speaking is just impeding happiness. And that should not be allowed. Just my opinion. Freedom of speech, right? But I don't believe freedom of speech should be a freedom to speak to the detriment of another. Just like the pursuit of happiness. The right to pursue happiness, it should be an imperative to pursue happiness, but not at the cost of your fellow human. Like, if I could change any one line in the Constitution, it would be that we have an imperative to pursue happiness, but not to the detriment of another. And before you get scared about the Second Amendment, I want to reinstate the Second Amendment really fully, that we have the right to bear arms, to form local militias. It's not for someone who drinks a lot of beer and is paranoid that everyone's going to have to get him to haul away in a bunker. It's so the people, usually guys, but the women would be there cooking, the community can get together and practice. Do target practice. That's why good old boys, they drink some beers, they do some targeting, and they have some barbecue, and it forms a freaking community. That's what it was intended for, as far as I say. Or as far as I see. So yeah. And the original Second Amendment, if I remember correctly, did have a duty of service in it that if I remember, got taken out somewhere between the Civil War and World War I. I am not... This isn't even my strong suit. Like, I know, prove me wrong. Like, so... countries that are functioning have a duty of service of some sort. So they are doing something for their country. It can't be us against them with the government, which is a bodiless entity created by men who are decomposing so they can just profit. Just like corporations were an invention by a guy to just decide that they were going to get together and figure out a way to form an entity that does nothing to gain profits with no body or given by God or duty or soul, to get money, and somehow they have no responsibility for the actions that entity does, but they can pull out the profits as needed. Like, no, not in the nation under God. Because one cannot serve both God and money. You will end up loving one and hating the other. And I'm not even a Bible number, but I went to Catholic school. And I tried to, transition and get into my native heritage. But I was told by some guy in an alley in Denver that once a Catholic, always a Catholic. The patriarchy. And, so now I'm a Catholic witch. Because of the patriarchy. It is what it is. But you know what? We have freedom of religion, thank God. I have been saying thankfully they don't burn the witches anymore, but maybe it's the other way around. Maybe I needed to say this before I burn. God and his funny sense of humor. So can I get some help from my fellow Americans and the rest of the world who still have some good faith? Let's stop bickering over this stupid bullshit. Like, diversity, talking about diversity and the importance of splitting up the people so the people who are benefiting are like, no. Seriously. Like, at least Mexico, they have the government and the cartels, but at least the multi-affiliations between the cartels mostly get along and can, This is not supposed to be about if you want to be a donkey or an elephant, or if you wear a blue fucking bandana or a red one, or... This isn't fucking Fashionista Week. It's about taking the one chance that we have on this spinning rock and making something good out of it. Because some of us have been born into hell. And if you weren't, take a moment to appreciate that. Because you were blessed. That's the problem with the MAGA. I kind of rolled my eyes. And then I saw that Make America Healthy Again. I rolled my... I understand the same thing with MAGA. Like, it's the word again. For someone whose lived experience hasn't been that great, or for someone who hasn't been that healthy, the again word is off-putting, just as far as branding. It's that freaking simple. And there can be peace. The transition issue, like, sometimes you're born into an identity and you want to transition out of that identity that was forced upon you by your parents and learn something new, but they go out into the world and all they see is sex. They think that's their identity because they haven't been given anything else to build a fucking identity. That's a problem. And I wouldn't even, it goes back so many generations. Doesn't matter whose fault it is. We need to fix it. Back to the Second Amendment and the militias. Like, it doesn't need to be Rambo. Community centers. Okay? Community centers. Where people in the community, you know, the guys can go target practice. Like the YMCA, but not as yuppier. Have volunteers come in and a place where people can go to get all of their like social services at one place instead of running around. Where there can be more streamlining between like people doing housing for homelessness and tax liens properties and stuff. Like, it's so wasteful and so ridiculous. Maybe it's because I've been in the trenches and so many people who have the power and the resources and been charged with the task of fixing these problems are so many degrees of separation removed from the problem. They're pretending. Like, and what really it's out of their realm of experience. So they should barely be talking on it, let alone be in charge of fixing it. So, community centers. Places where people can go and talk to a nutritionist. There's all this stuff going on with health insurance. Don't make me go there. But yes, it's a racket. But instead of trying to break it down, if us people like myself who are really bad at capitalism, libertarian anarchist, but I kind of suck at capitalism, but if I just like let a little crack open up, you know that whole like God left for like free will and stuff, like if you let some capitalism slip in there and think about it, we have to start something new. So these community centers could be for any citizen to come and get holistic medicine help. Network them for good nutrition. Have a garden in the back. And you get where I'm going with this, people? Having access to massage, yoga classes, Tai Chi, you know, a little bit self-defense classes, especially for the little girls and the guys. They need to duke it out. And anyone in any do-it-self-form, like the people within the communities, like if you have a skill or task that you're dreaming, instead of thinking a way to like get money in your pocket for it, go to one of these centers and say, hey, I can do this. What can I do? And work out a tax break or whatever. I'm sure you need a couple of full-time people. Like, but like the community can come, like they come and get their tax break for serving their country. Reciprocity. The people who are like working for the community center. Oh, New America home base. Yeah. They should be people who are veterans. Um, Also, people who are from like, who are in good faith. See, we have freedom of religion, but not freedom to not have religion. And I've personally had experience working with people like who are doing nonprofits, and they knock on my door. St. Joseph. Okay, oh, you work for St. Joseph? Yes. Come up in my house. Like, quick question. Who is St. Joseph? I am telling you, I think I made it to like 12 before a person knew how to answer that. That's not good. Not only like saying that they have to like research it, but if you're going to wear a symbol on you, you should know what the symbol means. That means they don't give a fuck. Pardon my French. That means that they are not holding integrity for the symbols that they are wearing. Anyone know how to do video editing? Because I can't do everything. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. And it's about playing towards your strengths and asking for help with your weaknesses. And do not spend time poking at other people's, shortcomings to make yourself feel better. But that's not what we need more of. It was ridiculous a decade ago. And I don't want to be president. I don't want to be famous. Donald Trump could do an inauguration. If you want to send me a tip for the tips I'm giving you, I'll put a link in the bio or comments or whatever. I'm technologically retarded. And yes, the word retarded, because I did not have access to internet or a phone between like 2014 or 2021. That so means I was stunted for a good 6 years, where technology was expanding faster than it has ever in the past. So I'm literally technologically retarded. Help. Please send help. But there are a lot of things that I do know how to do. And there are a lot of ways that I can help. So, strengths and weaknesses, people. And let's make this happen so America is not the laughingstock of the world. That would be awesome. I think that's all. We'll save it until round 2. And I'll pray to God that I have the courage to send this. I have a requiem that I'm also sending out with this. It was supposed to have music, but back to technologically retarded. When I put it on the phone from the platform I used, I didn't have the rights to the music, so it didn't do it. I was thinking definitely something Bad Bunny, if you have it. If anyone knows how to splice that, help. Please send help. It was supposed to go with the clip of, I think it was a Bad Bunny song. Oh yes. Puerto Rico. I don't think it should be a matter of what state, or if it's going to be a state or not. So, yeah. Maybe it's going to be the new capital. The old capital should be surrounded. So the politicians trying to flee like rats from a sinking ship can be contained. In my perfect world where I am Empress. Puerto Rico is the new capital until further notice. Checkmate, bitches. And if the Coast Guard and the National Guard and the reserves want to get extra feisty and take down Congress, the Senate, all that jazz, just hold them somewhere dark until we can figure this fuck out. That would be awesome. Representatives, if you are scared, like, don't worry. Have your delegates that you've done good things for call and get you out. As soon as your delegates call to bail out their representative, no money, just a good vouch of word for you and the things that you've done for their area, you'll be out in a flash. Wouldn't that be nice? All right. Oh, and as far as who can figure things out in time, maybe since there have been, this country was founded in 1776, and I looked up when did America break the first treaty with the Native Americans? 1778. We kept our ideals for 2 fucking years. We can do better. So if there's, luckily, by the grace of God, there has been some of the indigenous that have survived. And I know even there are groups, they've still kept some governments. I don't know everything, I just know what I know. Can we call that and start networking to fill in these things? Until a future consensus can be reached, just something so the people don't panic. We got this. We got this. And if people who are missing, the Americans, maybe take some solace that things are going to change, and change is inherently scary. It's psychological fact. Change is scary, but that's because the unknown is scary, whether it's good or bad. And just have a conscious thought with that. And so if you've had nothing but this problem and that problem and this problem and that problem, and now there's something that feels different and uncomfortable, take a minute to grasp your humanity and your consciousness to realize that could be because it's something you've never experienced before, but you've never experienced a good something, or even your better than it was isn't really that great. If it's very unfamiliar, it might be good. Just take a minute to let your fight, flight, and your whole frontal lobe embrace this. And see a world where things do get better. Everyone has their own talents and strengths. And you know what? There's a lot of people who need inspiration and talents and strengths. Back to community centers, places to do upcycling. And yeah, it could be a hub spot for homeschoolers. And a place where they can do arts and crafts, learn an instrument, learn debate, all the things that have been leached out that we know better now, and the paperwork and bureaucracy has not kept up. Didn't want to, it wasn't in the interest of that, but it should be in the interest of the people. And even for the betterment of the greater community. So many people are my family, my family, my family, and they know that there's kids, but they want to focus on the ones that are having the worst atrocities. But for every one of those kind of worst case atrocities I don't even want to speak of, there's another couple of kids who just have malignant apathy or worse. And if there was a place for them to go where even if their parent was stressed out and working and have something to fill the void of the fatherlessness epidemic, where there would be guys working there to do self-defense or whatever, taekwondo, Muay Thai, MMA, I don't know, fix cars, teach them how to use a drill and lay some caulk. Every guy should know how to lay caulk. Am I wrong? And pass on those ideals, take on some extra kids. Elon wants so many kids. How about take up every kid who needs a good influence and not just either everything that your naysayers have been saying, or someone who's absent-minded and has like 100 or 100,000 bots shitstorming the country while he's him doing him. I don't know. Which is even worse almost. Yeah. And you know what? For those worst atrocities, another demographic besides people who belong to a church and people who are veterans, we could also have people who are registered to be foster parents. So there's a safe space. So if a kid is having something go on, they could have a place to go, or they can whistleblow themselves and not have to think of the unknown. Because I've seen what happens when it's bad, but they've heard a story of worse. And so they just suck it up. And that is my G version of the story. I'm sure your negative imaginations will fill in the rest of where I'm getting at there. So yeah, that would be like priority hires. If you're going to priority hire, should be by those kind of standards. The fabric of character. I think that's what that meant. And as far as diversity, I haven't been in the sun lately because I've been like hermit reclused inside of my apartment because I've lost faith in the majority of the people in my demographic, but I do live in South Central LA. So it's self-preservation, let's get real. But like, I'm blacker than Kamala is, and I have the DNA test to prove it. It just balances out with the Irish. I have like 21 different ancestral origins, which is about as diverse as you can get. So, I am the candidate of both sides to take over for like, what, a week? I'm sure it could run by itself. I'm not a control freak. I'm not bossy, but I'm assertive when I have a plan. And no one is showing what real leadership is. And really, the president who does the real leadership, as far as the geopolitical questions, they should not be asking the president that. There's a certain classified information is a thing. Plausible deniability is always a good thing. You can't put like your war strategy out to the public. So why everyone can know what like we're gonna do and like prepare in advance to have a counter battle. Like you guys take away fighting and and you want us to mind blowing. Mind blowing. Okay. And that's what's wrong when you have a generation or two of children or grow up that have no parents or even distant relatives who have been in the military. They don't know how to fight with their wrists or their fists. And that's why there's so many shootings. Prove me wrong. The end.